Live from the City of Angels Sunday morning breaking box office. We start with the third place film this weekend. It's Heretic, a film that I'm not really in love with. You guys remember back to Thursday night, my reaction stream. I'm going to catch you up on that in a second, but I do want to show you the email directly from A24, and then we're going to tear it apart because it says here Heretic answered the call this weekend and blew past box office projections, grossing $11 million on 3,221 screens. Now, let's go back to Thursday night and have a listen to what I had to say about the opening for Heretic. When you go to it, if you go into this film expecting that it's written and directed by the guys who gave you 65, the Adam Driver dinosaur flick. If you go in with that level of expectation, you'll probably think it's okay. But any other level of expectation, you're fucked. MMT projector on this 11 million up. I'll take it up on 11. Hey, who got it again? Guys, we're good. I mean, that's the thing. The haters love to hate, but ultimately they lose on the card of talent. Wham, throw it down. The winner is Weber. MMT, the gold standard, 11 million. We nailed this thing. So for A24 to say it blew past projections, if it did, then how did I know it would get at 11, right? Remember, these studios spin things, right? That's what they do. They love to pretend that the expectation was lower, and then when it comes in 11, they're like, oh, it blew past. No. Listen, I had it 11. That's a fair projection, and bang, we nailed it again. We're good. We're fucking good. But here's the deal. If you go and look at this number of Heretic at 11 million, I think the key is when you go under the hood. Remember, that's what we do here better than anyone here on Breaking Box Office. Certainly better than movie math, right? It's not even a contest. Here's what we have. You have about 3,500 per screen on Heretic. So let's compare that to Terrifier 3 just a few weeks ago when it debuted with 18 million, I think it was. The number on that was over 7,000 per screen. So you're looking at 2 times for a horror film. Granted, that shows you how big Terrifier was, an outlier, right? Just a wild card, came in here and just destroyed on the box office for that film. What a profit it's made for its distributor. And certainly we're getting a Terrifier 4. But we need to remember when we talk about these numbers, we got to put them in context. Let's also compare it to a Hereditary, which also opened wide, another A24 film. And very few A24 films open wide. What does that mean? That means they open in the platform release, right? New York, LA, then they add a Chicago, San Francisco, and then slowly build out like we're seeing with Anora. We'll get to those numbers in a few minutes. That's what Neon's doing with that film. So A24 said, let's just go wide and make this accessible to everyone. So we have an $11 million opening. But again, back to Hereditary, that was over 4,000 per screen. So again, under that, it's not an underwhelming number, but don't let A24 tell you this is some out of the ballpark grand slam smash, because that's not the case. And that's what we do here. We tell you the truth every single time we come on. Tonight might be ugly, by the way. Tonight, Sunday Evening Spectacular. I've got a film I'm going to see later today. I don't know why I'm doing it, but it's Red One. And yeah, that's going to be something else tonight when we get to that film. I have a very strong feeling. Let's go to the number one film. We go backwards here tonight. Today, it's Venom. It's number one for the third straight weekend in a row. 16.2 million, down only 37%. What you're going to notice about all the films we're talking about here this morning is that you're looking at films that are benefiting from very little compelling product in the marketplace. When you don't have really strong stuff up against the holdovers are going to hold well, and that's what you're seeing here with Venom. By the way, one thing to note on Venom, it's doing much, much better overseas. I mean, this thing is almost at $400 million worldwide, stateside over 100. But the thing is again, when you look at a film, what the studios want is at least a 1-to-1, right? Domestic to international, preferably a 1-to-2. Venom is like a 1-to-3 or higher. So that shows you that the international cash is so key for these films, especially China. This film's doing very well there. Any film that opens in China is cash, especially that you really don't have necessarily, if you remember during COVID, you didn't have it. And that's important to note. Now that you have these markets re-entering, Russia still out. At some point, we'll get Russia back, maybe, and that'll be even more for them. But ultimately, that's where a film like a Venom does better, is when it starts throwing in that international cash, especially China. It does well. I have no idea what Best Christmas Pageant Ever is. Is it a faith-based film? When I saw that this was number 2, I had heard something about it. I have no idea what this is, but it got 11.1 million. It ekes ahead of Heretic. One thing I want to mention, when we look at the top 10, I'm going to get to Red One, by the way, because Red One did open overseas. I've got some numbers from Warner Brothers. They're handling that overseas. Here's the top 10. But when you look at this, you've got Best Christmas Pageant Ever at 11.1 and Heretic at 11. Why was that able to occur? Because A24 reports their number first. They are in at like 9:30 in the morning on the East Coast, 6:30 in the morning here. Most studios don't report until 7:30 or later. That'd be 10:30 on the East Coast. So they're an hour easy early. And because of that, what does that allow? That allows another studio to say, hey, our movie made 11.1, to tack on an extra 100,000. Now, again, you're not getting this from anyone else. Here's why that's important. Because we don't know if 11.1 is the actual number or if Heretic's actual number is 11 million. But when you put that 0.1 on, you get number 2. Okay, let's say you're going for number 1. Then you're going to wait, hold that card, and you're going to give your film an extra 100,000 estimate on Sunday so you can bump that thing number 1. That's how the studios play it. A24 is like, nah, we'll just go early and we'll just go first and we'll say we have 11 million. That's why they're third. I think Heretic can get to number 2. But I mean, whatever Best Christmas Pageant Ever. Did anyone see that? It's number 2 officially here. Now let's go to number 4, Wild Robot, 6.7 million, down 11%. Again, what did I just tell you guys? No new compelling stuff in the marketplace, especially for families. You get a drop of 11%. Smile also down 11%, 5 million. By the way, this film is only at about 150 million worldwide. Not even, I think it's 120. I got to look again at the thing, but here's the point. Smile 1 was over 200 million. So I told you guys when this thing debuted, we're going under. Disappointing. Smile 2, very disappointing for Paramount. It's not going to lose them money, but for a sequel, you want this to be higher than where we are. Either way, it is your number 5 film. Let's do Red One because it is international, and then it's becoming domestic here this week. Some early screenings today. It's why I'm going to force myself to watch this. I'm not looking forward to this. When I'm reading film Twitter hammering a film, granted, this is a film that film Twitter will hammer, right? But these people like praise everything. So when they're destroying Red One, are you ready? Get ready for tonight because I've got that. But I also have some good news because I saw A Real Pain, which is one of the best films of the year. So at least I'll have something positive tonight before I absolutely nuke Red One, more than likely tonight. Debuted with $26.6 million, and that is international cash because it goes early over there. Warner Brothers handling that. 25,000 screens, 75 overseas markets. Strong Saturday performance across nearly all markets with family members help propel the opening weekend results. Bodes well for the weeks to come as we head further into the holiday season. For Latin America, the film ranked number 2 in the region behind the third weekend of Venom, The Last Dance. That's not very good. Like, that's not high praise. Our film ranked number 2 behind the number 1 film that is falling and is still number 1 after 3 weeks. Okay. By the way, in Europe, in like-for-like markets and adjusted for exchange rates, the film is tracking ahead of Central Intelligence and Skyscraper. It's great. I love when they just like reach. I know those are rock films, right? He was in Central Intelligence, wasn't he? I know he was in Skyscraper. But this is when the studios, Warner Brothers, is like, what film can we say it's doing better than? It's doing better than Skyscraper. Oh, my God. Red One's a runaway smash. Let's go to the top 10, and we'll get out of here. It's going to be a short stream here today because there's not a whole lot going on at the box office. Here's your top 10 as I make myself really small down in the corner. Venom number 1, 16.2, minus 37% on the weekend. 114 here on the stateside number. Let me get the international because it's crazy. It's almost 400 million, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull it up. I got to find the Sony international. I've got all the emails in front of me. Here we go. International total is 394.2. So again, you're looking at domestic at 114, Total worldwide at nearly 400. Let's call it 400. So you're looking at a 1 to 3 pretty much, right? A 3x multiple on the international. That's good. Sony loves that because otherwise the film would be a total disappointment at 114 million, way under the first two Venoms. Best Christmas pageant ever, whatever that is, 11.1. I think it's faith-based. It's got to be. Isn't it too early to roll out these Christmas movies? For God's sake, we just got done with Halloween. I feel like we shouldn't have a Christmas movie until right around Thanksgiving. It's not Thanksgiving. Stop moving us ahead 2 weeks. Slow down. Why we have to be talking about the best Christmas pageant ever in Red One? I gotta go see Red One later in IMAX. I don't know why. Why am I doing this to myself? For you to enjoy my pain and suffering tonight. Heretic number 3 at 11 million, 3,400 per screen. Okay. Not Terrifier 3, 7,000 plus per screen. Remember, everything needs to be put into context. The Wild Robot 4 at 130 million and worldwide 200 plus million on that. Smile 2, number 5, only 60 million stateside. Big disappointment. I'm telling you it is. I mean, not at colossal, but it's certainly a disappointment. Paramount would have to say that if I had them on the stream right now. They'd be like, yes, disappointing. They don't want to answer the question, but they'd have to. Conclave, we haven't got to that. Down 19%. I think what's really impressive about Conclave, and this is what makes me have faith after we just had that stream a few weeks ago, The Death of Small Films. Look at this film. Down 19%, okay? $21 million, $21.5 million on this film that feels like a streaming film, right? For a lot of people, Conclave's not a big screen film, but older audiences are seeing this film. This is what has to happen. We got to bring the Windows back, right? We've talked about that how many times? We're the only channel talks about Windows, talks about Netflix sucks balls. We're the only channel out there. We're fearless. We're always right. We're the gold standard. And let me tell you, when I look at Conclave, it gives me hope because this film, even though it's only 1,800 per screen, which isn't crazy, but again, 21.5 million for a film like Conclave is, I'll take it. The way things have been going, I will definitely take that. And I know Focus will take it. That's looking very positive, trending up when we look at these films that are coming, these awards films. Although a lot of these awards films still aren't that compelling. I really want you to see Real Pain. I'll tell you why tonight. Easily one of the best films of the year. Best screenplay of the year, I think, for sure. Real Pain. Discussing tonight. Anora. Ugh. God, do I have to talk about Anora? By the way, I know a lot of you are finally seeing Anora, so come in with your comments tonight. I'm going to trash Anora again. That's what we do. We're going to hammer that film. We are going to make certain that film does not get a Best Picture nomination. If it does, nomination, forget a win. A win's, I can't even comprehend. I don't even want to conceptualize that happening. Not happening. If it gets a Best Picture nomination, it'll be the worst film to ever secure a Best Picture nomination in the history of the Oscars. Anora is unwatchable. It is absolutely brutalizing to sit through. And I know a lot of you saw it. And guess what's happening? My stream, where I call it atrocious and completely unworthy of the praise, people are now seeing it and coming. And I'm getting comments saying, you're right. Thank God. This was cathartic. I'm like, of course it was, because I'm right again. Anora sucks. A Real Pain. Oh, man. Whoa. So much better. So much better. Take all the praise that you're hearing for Anora, remove it, extract it, and slap it onto Real Pain. That's what we'll talk about here tonight. That film, though, is at 7.2 million. Anora, only 2,200 per. That's not that great. So, again, the narrative that Anora's crushing it, it's killing it. Anora's at 7.2, Conclave's at 21. And you would think Anora's at 21 and Conclave's at 7. Do you see? This is what we do. We break down narratives, we destroy them, and we rebuild them in truth. That's what we do. Live in Time is 21.8 million. A small film, right? A24. The difference with that film is you've got two major stars in it, Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield. So 21 million for them is really not that surprising. So that's about where I'd expect that film to be. It's certainly not a runaway mainstream success like Mendelsohn called it. What? I mean, again, I told you, I like Scott a lot, but sometimes Scott says stuff like, dude, what are you talking about? We don't do that. We say things that are factual and usually definitely ahead of the curve. And we nailed another number with 11 million because we are the gold standard. Thank you. Terrifier 3, $53 million on the total for that. It's a $2 million film, massive profit, as we're going to get a Terrifier 4. But again, I think it's important as we bring it back to Heretic. the importance of comparing Heretic to Terrifier 3 to give you some idea what the benchmark for true success is. And this film was less than half, Heretic, less than half of what Terrifier 3 did. All right, that's going to do it here this morning. I am back tonight. If you left me a comment, I'll get to it after the stream. Come in with your comments about Anora if you've seen it. Please say you're with me on this. Do not be on the wrong side of history. Also tonight, we have A Real Pain. I'm going to tell you why it's one of the best films and best screenplays of 2024, along with what should be a truly brutalizing review in Red One. I'll see you back here tonight about 8 o'clock here in LA. Until then, peace out. I'll see you next time. The stream is over.